Hi guys, I was discussing steam regulator setup with a couple of blokes the other day. I was having trouble explaining why I have the servo and linkage the way I do. So I spent some dough and I've put together this highly detailed locomotive mock-up. Hopefully that'll help me explain. What I was looking for was when the regulator is close to closed position, as it is now, I wanted fairly small increments in regulator opening relative to the movement of the joystick on the transmitter. Then as I got closer to full open, I wanted those increments to be larger. Now that's easy to do with a transmitter with programmable functions or a programmable servo. I have neither, but I have had pretty good results using the geometry of the setup to do that for us. Now the joystick on my transmitter has a ratchet to hold it in place. It has 25 notches or 25 steps, and each of those steps makes the servo arm move about 4 degrees, which we can see there. Regardless of the position, the servo arm will move about 4 degrees for the movement of 1 notch on the transmitter joystick. You see in the closed position, the servo arm is vertical. It's almost parallel to the direction of travel we need to open the regulator. In this position, with 1 step or 1 notch on the joystick, the servo moves 4 degrees, as we said before. Now most of that movement is horizontal. The vertical component of that movement is minuscule, and so we move 4 degrees here and we see a very tiny movement in the regulator arm. As we come further open, let's stop about 45. Now for 1 notch on the joystick and 4 degree movement of the servo arm, about half the movement is a horizontal component and about half is a vertical component. So we've increased the vertical travel per 4 degree step, which will move the regulator arm through a greater distance. Then travelling on to almost full position, now with our servo arm horizontal, nearly all the movement is in the vertical direction and there's almost none horizontal. So that gives us the maximum movement to the regulator arm, which is exactly what we wanted. When the regulator is almost closed, 1 notch on the joystick gives us a tiny movement, which is very fine control for shunting, slowing, stopping, starting. But as we get closer to our full throttle position, the steps are much larger per 4 degree or 1 notch on the transmitter. What's also important is the geometry at the other end has to be exactly opposite. When we're horizontal, the amount of movement is minimal to the regulator shaft, and when we're in this position, a small vertical component will give us a large travel of the regulator arm. So that's about it. As you can see, the movement of the regulator arm per servo travel is much greater up around the full open position. Well, I guess most of you guys probably know this, but who knows, might help somebody set up their steam regulator. Anyway, thanks for listening.